Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So just like everybody else on the internet, I recently finished reading The Power by Naomi Alderman. Well, technically I listened to it. Am I still allowed to say I read it? Can you read an audiobook? Anyway, I finally finished consuming The Power, ironically right before my apartment lost electricity for 5 straight days. I'd say overall I was both here and there on it. Thought-provoking premise, fast-paced plot, a few intriguing characters, but a general over-reliance on its ideas to the detriment of the story and character development. Overall, it was a long-form allegory that probably could have done with a few more rounds of edits. But I'm not making this video to talk about the problems of this book, although I kind of want to. Should I do that in another video? I might do that in another video. Instead, I want to talk about the general existential crisis that I had after talking about this book with some other people. So as you may or may not know, The Power is a fictional chronicle of the events leading up to the entire restructuring of global society due to the sudden ability of women to shoot electricity out of their fingers. See what I mean? Thought-provoking premise. And since it's telling a story of global proportions, it does what a lot of stories like this do. It introduces multiple main characters. The story is told primarily from the perspectives of 4 different people trading off storylines between chapters. They're all geographically distinct for much of the novel, intersecting here and there more towards the end. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, or well, maybe. That's kind of the point. But when I was dissecting this book with my fellow book clubbers, someone brought something up that I hadn't really thought about. A lot of books do this. Like, a lot. Specifically, a lot of contemporary authors have been following this narrative trend of multiple main characters trading off chapters, bringing separate storylines together late in the game to up the tension. She said just like in the old days when everything was serialized, this is the hot new literary trend. And I hadn't really thought about it until she said it, but as soon as she did, countless examples flooded my vision. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. A lot of the examples that came to mind are books that I really like. But the thing that filled me with existential dread was the fact that one of the books that came to mind was mine. I did this. 4 separate main characters, geographically distinct, pulling the storylines together toward the end to up the tension. I mean, this is my novel to a T. When she said that, my reaction wasn't, oh, how interesting. For some reason, my first thought was, dear God, now I must burn it. But what is that? What is that impulse? Like I said, some of the examples that came to mind are books that I really like. Why wouldn't I want my book to be like theirs? I think in all creative fields, the world has a tendency to put this overemphasis on originality. Whatever you do, it has to be unique. It has to be novel, pun intended. And this idea is so pervasive that if I hear anyone mention anything that might even be remotely like a story I've written or a novel I'm thinking about, my immediate reaction is, they beat me to it. No longer worth doing. Time to start over. And I know a lot of writers feel the same way. I mean, haven't you ever seen a movie or read a book and thought, well, there goes my idea. But as I sat there already mentally tossing my manuscript page by page into a burning trash can, she kept expanding on this idea, how everything back in the day was serialized, but the best of those have endured to today and are still widely read. The format wasn't a detriment because the story had something to say, and what it had to say was enhanced by the format. Now, I know all this might sound a little out of the blue, but the format of your story isn't what matters. Just like the plot of your story isn't what matters, just like the characters of your story isn't what matters. It's how all of these fit together and inform each other that matters. So think about your format. Does it help your story? Why does this story have to be told in this way? For me, I knew that in order to get across the themes of societally imposed otherness that I really wanted to explore in this, it would have to be told from multiple perspectives. Otherwise, they could just be written off as the ramblings of a narcissistic individual. Maybe that's just what I'm telling myself, so I don't have to burn this. Time will tell. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Left to Right. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, what do you think the hot new literary trend is? Why do we feel the need to be so original? I'd love to talk about it.